Welcome back to Hidden Power. Today we're going to be discussing the possibility for a 19th Pokemon type. My name is Dusty Gogoat. Today I'm with the Lumiose Post.
Hello.
And Soul Silver Art.
What's up?
What is your favorite Pokemon type? There was originally 15, then 17, then 18. Which one's your favorite?
I think the Dragon type is like my favorite, but like overall I find most of the Pokemon I like are the Water type.
Dragon is a dope type. Okay, that's fair.
That's interesting.
Both very competitive types, mind you.
Not even for that reason, genuinely. Like just the Water type. I mean, I'm a big ocean person. I moved to the coast just to be close to the ocean. So I love what? That's because you're
joking,
Yankee.
right?
It's no, I'm not.
Because you're a Yankee.
The ocean is really scary. The ocean is honestly a horrifying place to live.
Oh my god!
But it's also so beautiful.
I like to be on the beach.
Like such terrifying things from it, but you have things like whales and dolphins, and coral reefs.
I'm shook.
I'm a lake guy. We went camping and we would go to the lake. And
Lakes are
there's
worse.
no sharks. There's no jellyfish.
Lakes
They're
are
gross.
so worse.
So, what's your favorite type?
My favorite type's water now. No, I'm kidding. My favorite type's bug type, 100%. Like I just love. I love all the Pokemon. I love the type. The only thing I don't like, obviously, is they're weak. But yeah, whatever. Their designs.
I know.
Not Scizor.
They really are weak. I mean, we don't need to talk about that, but they really are weak. I mean, so okay, I'm actually just gonna throw out like a wild theory that I've been thinking about the last couple months, but like, you know, we will be entering Generation 10 at some point, and I'm starting to love the idea of like, all right, what if they really shake up the core like battle mechanics or the just like whether it could be the types possibly, right? Like a lot of generations will introduce, you know, hidden abilities that shook up everything. You know, the special physical split shook everything. I've been thinking, what if they just like assign new types? They kind of reshuffle existing types into all 1,000 Pokemon, right? They could really do like a hard reset of some sort. I don't know if that's too big of an idea, but
that would be insane.
I'm like, if they're ever going to do it, that would be kind of insane to do it in Gen 10.
But I like the idea of them like doing something crazy different because they have done that in the past. But that sounds huge.
And I think
we could get a new type.
I definitely think we could get a new type.
Gen 2 was when we got Steel and Dark, and then it was 4 gens later, Gen 6, that we got Fairy. Gen 10 will be 4 more gens later. So
yeah,
some people might hate this topic too. I know. Every time I brought this up, people are like, we just don't need one. And, like they did it just for balancing with the fairy type, Which is true. It is all true. But it spices everything up. I love getting a new type. I wish it was like, not as common as getting new Pokemon, but like something that normally happened within a certain amount of years. It'd be cool to just keep getting types.
Yeah,
I understand where it gets too much.
For me, I'm like, if you can do it. I mean, it's not politics, right? This isn't real life. It's a video game. It should be fun, right? If it's a possibility, do it. Why not, right? It'll be fun. Because I get those comments all the time, like, we don't need this. And I'm like, what do you mean we don't need it? We don't need anything. We don't need Pokemon doesn't need to exist.
We don't need a DLC.
Yeah, this isn't saving, right? We're not talking about like clean water. We're talking about a new Pokemon type.
No, you're so right. I understand though, like there's a point where they cannot do it anymore. Like we would, if we would have like had new types every, I don't know, even generation or something, like we would already be like, okay, we can't do any more types. We can't have like over 20 types.
Sure.
Our brains would melt probably.
I don't think so. I think they could add 2 new types.
People that play competitive, it would be dead. It'd be like, we can't figure this crap out anymore.
No.
If they went too far, I think there could be a point where that's the case. But I think instead of adding a new type, I think they should just kind of reanalyze, I guess, how they have the current types. Because like
make bugs stronger. Right?
They've done that before. Like Steel type used to resist Ghost and Dark. And they made it where it takes neutral damage from them. So that really hurt Metagross. Like Metagross was a huge Pokemon because it was a pseudo too, and it resisted all of Psychic's weaknesses. But then they took that away, and now Metagross is weak to Ghost and Dark, which are 2 very common typings. But like they need to reanalyze it because Bug needs to be buffed. Ice needs to be buffed.
Grass needs to be buffed.
Grass needs to be
ice
buffed.
kind of was just buffed a little bit.
Yeah, with Snowscape, that's true. It was buffed a little bit. I do think. I mean, it still is. It still has room to go, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Rock also needs to be buffed too.
Another example,
all bulky mons, and they're all weak to everything.
I think like when it comes to a new idea, there's a lot of people who like are closed-minded because they're like, "Well, what's the precedence?" But like we got to go back to it every time. Game Freak they love to do things that are unprecedented. So keep an open mind, right? Another reason for a huge shakeup, or another example of a huge shakeup, was in Generation 7 when they actually gave like over 100 Pokemon like an additional 10 to 30 base stat points, which I thought was really cool. Because there had been so much like power creep, they just kind of like they were like, all right, let's make some of these Pokemon like on even ground.
Right.
So, all right, well, let's get into some new types that we could see, right? So the history of types, right? Originally there was 15, and like you said, Lumi, like even in Generation 1, they worked so differently from Generation 1 to Generation 2. But we had those original 15 types, and then in Generation 2, they introduced Steel and Dark, and there were some old Pokemon that got kind of retyped, which was interesting. Pokemon like Magnemite now had a Steel type.
I think that was the only one in Gen 1.
Yeah,
it was just Magnemite they retyped.
Yeah, and there were some evolutions, Scyther and Onix, that got new evolutions with the type. I feel like Dark definitely could have been given out to some other Pokemon, maybe like Spearow, Ekans, Primeape. I feel like all those Pokemon could have been Dark type. And that's maybe
I feel like they just didn't want to give anything a new type, but like Magnemite was literally like it's more Steel than it is Electric, really.
Yeah.
So they couldn't excuse not giving it Steel type.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of where I'm like, if I could have any wish, it might be to retype a lot of old Pokemon. I feel like a lot of regional forms, what people want from regional forms are like another version of the same Pokemon, but with like a fixed typing, right? I mean, I feel like everyone's like, oh, give Flygon Bug Dragon type. But it's Bug Ground for a reason.
The biggest one's probably
Ground.
Lugia.
Or Dragon Ground, yeah.
Yeah. The biggest one's probably Lugia and like Palkia, or like them swapping or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I didn't realize, Dusty, when you said that theory that's what you meant, or theory, whatever wish that you wanted to have for Gen 10. I thought you meant like them go back and like just change Pokemon's types for no reason, like.
No, not for no reason. Definitely for a reason. I feel like
reanalyze,
to like actually go and look at certain ones that deserve to be a different type would be epic. And like you said, there's totally precedent for it. Lugia is the most prime example I think of. Like it should be a whole bunch of other types other than Psychic and Flying.
Water, Dragon, so many things would work for it.
Yeah. And that would shuffle things up like incredibly, whether it's for the battle meta or even just for casual fans. I think it'd be really fun. We'll see. We got 3 years to go. We'll see. But let's kind of like just play in that space today, because I think it'd be a lot of fun. So, and then it was in 2016, or was it 2013? 2013 in Generation 6, we got the reveal of the Fairy type through Sylveon. That was a really big. That felt like monumental. That was a historic moment in my life. I remember thinking like, there's no shot they introduce a new type, and they did it. And now that's 10 years ago. So when we talk about a new generation, it's like, it's not like it's happened. It's not like it's happening every gen.
But 10 years ago was a long time ago. A new type.
And in that moment, they also that was, I would say Fairy type is the one where they really went back and shifted a lot of type combinations, right?
Yeah.
I think it was like Jigglypuff,
Gardevoir, Marill, Mawile,
Mr. Mime. Yeah, Mawile, right? It's Granbull even is like, why is that Fairy type? It does make sense, but it seemed kind of out of nowhere. So I feel like if they were to introduce a new type, that could be so exciting, right? They don't even need to do my theory where they shift everything up, but if they were to just introduce like, so we got a couple types here, right? Rubber type, Cosmic type, Light type, Sound type. These are some fan favorites. I feel like, if they were to introduce a new type, we would also get a whole slew of, existing Pokemon with that new typing. would think that the type would probably correspond with the theme from whatever the game or the region is. And then we would also get a whole bunch of new Pokemon, right? Because that's another thing. Like, with a Pokemon type, every new Pokemon type introduces like new possibilities for designs to correspond with the specific type. Like, if there was no fire type, we wouldn't be able to get any sort of magma Pokemon, flame Pokemon, heat Pokemon. Those just wouldn't exist. Or we would get a design that's like maybe has some of those elements, but is maybe not the core of the design. Just what are some types that you think are almost needed, right? People say that we don't need a new type, but I think there are some types. I actually do think there are some types that we do need. I think there are some types that we need.
I think one type that like wasn't mentioned there, and it kind of exists but kind of doesn't, is like the no type. And a lot of people before Scarlet and Violet's DLC speculated that Terapagos could be, no type.
Yeah,
but
typeless.
Yeah, typeless.
Burn up. So it's burn up type.
Question mark, question
mark, right?
Well, that's actually a separate thing too, the question mark thing.
Oh, is that not typeless? I assume that was typeless.
I think it's like specifically was only used for Arceus or something like that. It's like a legendary type, basically. Like
the question mark was used for curse.
Yes.
But now,
which is weird. They should have just given that a
type.
Changed
it. They've changed curse. Well, I think the reason why is because the idea with curse was it worked differently if it was a ghost type using it versus a non-ghost type using it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they've changed curse to just be a ghost type move. I think. Don't hold me to that.
I think it is a ghost type move. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and so it became a ghost type, but also the question mark type was just removed from the game. That pretty much, I think that was in Gen 8 maybe. They removed it from the game. And then now, when you use burn up or if you use any other sort of thing to like, remove or whatever a type, you just become typeless, which is better. It's even like more pure than normal.
Typeless is a cool concept, to be honest. Like, it'd be really cool if that could happen to more Pokemon because it is in itself a type of a
It is a type, yeah.
I feel like kind of is. It has
normal type. Yeah, it does. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No worries.
Normal type was the original typeless.
Mm-hmm.
It obviously does interact with other types, but it was supposed to be, and it still kind of functions like that, right? In a playthrough, I always try to run, strength, body slam, something, headbutt, something that's just can dish out neutral damage.
Hyper beam. As a kid, that was the move,
Definitely, yeah. But typeless is a little bit different. And then we had we also had shadow Pokemon, which wasn't an actual type. I don't think it was an actual type.
It was not.
It was more like a status condition, a permanent status condition. But obviously that is in the GameCube Pokemon series.
And Pokemon Go.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Pokemon
it was
Go as well.
Go.
That was when that came back, I really thought they might. I thought that was going to be like the new gimmick in Generation 8. I was like, this could
I remember
be cool.
thinking it would be Armored Evolution because of the Armored Mewtwo raid.
Sure.
And there was that leak that was from 4chan that had called Sword and Shield being the Gen 8 names and then saying that there would be Armored Evolution as the gimmick.
Yeah.
Fan logic. Sword and Shield,
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
It
should have been that. It really
should have. Like
it would have been pretty neat. Well, I guess they kind of saved that for the Violet Paradoxes, right? I mean, in a way.
Yeah, in a way. There's definitely some things with that. But yeah, the Shadow Pokemon, I never understood it because I never played those games. I was like, what is this? Is this not Dark type? Like, what is their purpose really? But I guess other than like, I get the concept of purifying them, or whatever. That's about it.
Yeah, I think it was really just a physical way of showing that they were like mind controlled, that they were like not in their right mind.
Right.
Like you see a lot of like, even though shadow Pokemon have not appeared in the anime, they have kind of done like pretty much a version of it, and like often Team Rocket will have some kind of device that they throw on the Pokemon, and the Pokemon starts rampaging. Like I remember there was a Salamence that they did it to in X and Y, and then there was something similar to it in the Celebi movie. It's been a long time since I've seen that, but I do vaguely remember that. With like the Tyrantar and the villain or something. I don't know. So you're the Johto expert. You
no, I never saw that, but I know exactly what
Dang
you're
it,
talking
Soul.
about.
I'm relying
I know what you're talking
on
about. Yeah, it was some kind of like they turned evil or they're mind controlled somehow.
Yeah.
And there's a prevailing theory that states like shadow Pokemon were kind of reintroduced via Mega evolution because, in universe Mega Pokemon are kind of like in an enraged state, right? It kind of links up with the Berserker gene and some other things that we've seen. I think it's also, I don't know, part of me wants to be like, shadow Pokemon isn't, canon to the main series games because the GameCube games really were like kind of its own thing. However, they are in Go, and Let's Go is also canon, and also Go connects to Home, and then Home connects to the main series games.
Well,
but they aren't canon.
XD Gale of Darkness connected to the mainline games, did it not?
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, they did. They did.
They could have connectivity, but once you put a shadow Pokemon in, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It brings up another idea, which is also related to another thing that we can talk about, but like in my mind, the dark type in Japanese is just like evil type, right?
Right.
But as a kid growing up, I was just like, it's dark, like darkness type.
Yeah.
And then so when Shadow
like
Pokemon
absence of light.
Yeah. When Shadow Pokemon came out, I was like, okay, so is this like, I didn't know that it was evil type in Japan when I was a kid, but I was just like, okay, so the dark type is like the absence of light type, and then Shadow Pokemon could be like an actual, like these are evil Pokemon, like sinister Pokemon, let's say. So it's interesting to think of like split types. Like they could split the dark type and just make like, oh, these shadow Pokemon are like the really sinister ones coming after you.
So it says right here, so dark, our definition, the English dark Pokemon type in Japanese translates to evil, right? But shadow Pokemon in English translates to Japanese as dark Pokemon.
Yeah.
So that's literally what it is, right? It's darkness.
Just if you wanted to add another type, it's like you could do that technically, which brings me to, I don't know if you wanted to move to this yet, but there used to be a bird type back in the day, and the flying type in general to me is just like the weirdest type. It should have been a bird type. There could be a sky type instead of just flying. Like
I think wind works really well.
Wind. That's what I'm looking for.
Be good.
Like
and that's usually what you see in other mediums.
Right. I wish that there was just like a wind type.
Yeah.
And like then a actual bird kind of type, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess birds would become normal more than anything.
I feel like
and they were for the longest time. Like all the regional birds
were.
Until Talonflame were normal flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was default. If like you're a bird, you're normal and flying, which seems kind of silly and a waste, and it's just really limiting. So I feel like there are almost like subcategories or there's different definitions or categories of types within all of the types that exist, right? Obviously, they all function the same. They are all like any Pokemon can have any combination of all these types. But I do feel like some types are a little bit more elemental, where some of these types feel like almost like character definitions, or for example, dragon type was always like if you're a reptile, you're a dragon type, right? If you're a rock type, you're literally just made of rocks. Another type, which is what you're saying, is flying type, which usually defines a Pokemon that it has levitation of some sort. But like you're saying, like that should be a bird type. So bug type is also like that. There's the bug and bird type would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also the I was just thinking about it. This is turning into just like a type retrospect, but
a little bit,
But the thing is, like, ground and rock are like a perfect example. Like those two could be the same type if we were doing the same thing here.
They could do like just a Terra type, and it'd be like, well, not Terra type like our Terra, but like if they had back in the day done TERRA, or Earth type even.
An Earth type, yeah. It's just like the reverse of it, you know what I mean? Like a flying type could be split into two types, or ground and rock could be put together and make one type that, is just like an earth type. It doesn't have to be split into rock and ground, because just like you said, rock types like basically have to have some form of rock or crystal or something that makes them rock type, which is not
Oh
as
no,
elemental.
a lot of the OG rock types were rock ground anyways.
I know,
Rhyhorn,
that's the silliest thing.
Onyx.
Yeah. Which is it's just that comes down to like they were starting things off and just like processing it and figuring it out as they were going along. But yeah.
And this is why I think like we do need more types. I feel like with Pokemon types, they're so quirky. They're like the names of the types are almost too descriptive where it limits. It doesn't actually limit what Pokemon can have that type, but it's kind of weird. Grass type is a perfect example of like, why is it called grass type? Why would it not be called plants or fauna or something a little bit more broad, right? Yeah. Bird type might seem weird. Bug type might seem weird, but it's not. It's just like part of the history now.
Bug type is a weird type to make in general. Like when they first started, I think the only reason they did that is because Pokemon's kind of based off of catching bugs. Yeah. So they were just like, we have to have bug type, but really bug is not an element or a feature or anything.
It's
like
literally just a type of animal. Like it'd be like if water was a fish type.
Which is why they probably had the bird type, because it was just a type of animal type, And
normal type used to be like a catch-all for a lot of different things, and a lot of normal types got turned into fairy types. Same thing, a lot of psychic type Pokemon got turned into fairies. I feel like you could segment a lot of these types into multiple things, right? And they also kind of like their real world counterparts kind of all, they all function together. Like you can't have ice without water, right? But it's like it's a specific sub condition of water that makes it ice type. It's like the temperature, right? Yeah. It shouldn't even be ice type. It should be like low temperature.
I mean, yeah. Like
if you get really technical with it.
And electric and fire, they're both forms of like energy, right?
Yeah, but
that one's a little more broad because like wind's a form of energy in a way.
Yeah, they like even those things out too anyway with like their resistances and all that stuff. So they do make it make sense in a way. But I agree with what you're saying about them being like broad and specific types that could be more broad and all that.
I just think there's a lot of possibilities for like, basically. So this is a perfect segue. A lot of psychic type Pokemon are psychic type because they represent some sort of like extraterrestrial, vibe, whether they're from outer space. Yeah. So let's move over to the first type, I guess. This is a good segue. Cosmic type is something that people have talked about for a very long time. And I think, with just over the years now, there have been more and more Pokemon that are directly from outer space, from ultra space, other dimensions, Pokemon that seem, just think of Clefairy, that's generation 1. Here, let me, I'll show you guys this right here. So this is a list of Pokemon that could be deemed cosmic type. And if there's anything here that you disagree with, I mean, we could talk about it. If you're enjoying this show, just $5 helps us out so much. Right below this video, there's a join button. You can click it and become a channel member.
And more importantly, we have merch. Seriously, I'm about to like, when we're done recording this ad, I'm trying to speed up this ad so I can go and buy my own merch, which is really lame. But also, like, it's super cool, and
it's not lame.
Cool.
I'm gonna be wearing.
Amazing.
I'm gonna be wearing a hat. I'm gonna be wearing a T-shirt. I'm also gonna have a hoodie. I'm gonna have a Hidden Power hoodie.
I'm gonna get that too then.
Yeah, Soul's gonna get one.
I want a mug. I want to put my Snapple in a Hidden Power mug.
I like that. I'm gonna be drinking coffee in a Hidden Power mug.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense than Snapple.
That's like, what is this, plastic?
It's bad for the environment. Get a mug. Save the turtle.
There you go.
Silver Army. Grab your merch. Support your boy.
Listen to Lumi. Get some of our stuff. It's really good stuff, guys.
Your support will allow us to continue making Hidden Power videos for the rest of the year. Thank you guys so much. And now back to the video. And if there's anything here that isn't here that you think should be here.
And this is by Sharon, I think is how you say the name.
Yeah, Adept Sharon. Shout out to you, Sharon. We'll read it. We'll put this in the description.
Be in the description. Go check them out.
Cosmic type is definitely a really, really good idea. You asked us before, like, what types we'd want. Personally, I really want and think like which ones we need, quote unquote. I need a light type is what I need the most. Mostly because Ultra Necrozma is like my favorite Pokemon. But then, so the reason I bring that up is because this kind of clashes with a light type. Like it's almost like
Okay.
you would only have a light type or a cosmic type, if that makes sense. And cosmic is such a weird way
Yeah, what is the
to
definition of cosmic?
yeah. Cosmic is a weird way to say like alien type or like from outer space type. Because cosmic in like let's say like in Marvel, the Marvel universe, cosmic is like a power almost. It's
Yeah.
like a force, let's
The
say.
Infinity Stones.
Yeah, it's
We
way
need an
more
infinity type.
different. Yeah, it's possible that too. But so this is just like outer space type, which a lot on this list make a lot of sense. But then see you see alternate Krosma right there, and I'm like, even
Yeah.
Solgaleo and Lunala and that whole trio, I'm just like, that should be light type because they're like they're like light Pokemon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With actual light.
So I guess so you kind of define light type as like an energy source.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and then if we go back to the list, I mean, wouldn't that really just be like that would be fire type or electric type or fairy type, right?
I
That
see.
was
I've
another
never
thing.
seen that though. I've never
Yeah.
seen that. Like people are just like, we don't need light type because it's already kind of a thing. I'm like, no, not really. And I mean, the only
Yeah.
Pokemon that really, really probably needs it is Ultra Necrozma for like light, unless you guys can think of it. That trio specifically.
I mean, you
Yeah,
could
they
do
literally-
other ones like the Litwick line. See, but Fire Ghost works so well for it because it is a flame.
It
but
does.
it's literally based off of lights. You know,
Well,
I mean,
I think some of these
Yeah.
bug Pokemon at the bottom,
Circuitry.
you even have Starmie. Actually, so this is here. All right, well let's go to the light type. Okay, we were looking at this is a list of cosmic Pokemon, but okay, so here's another list that someone created for the light type. Ampharos is a really great pick, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's literally based on a lighthouse. It's supposed to just project light. The electricity is maybe how it gathers the energy to produce light. I don't think Rapidash makes any sense.
No,
for
me
light
either.
type.
yeah, I think
That-
they're just on flames.
It doesn't really fit for me.
Yeah.
But
I think-
that's
Yeah, I think a lot of other like plant type Pokemon or grass type Pokemon could possibly have the light type. We were talking about Blossom and how a little while ago about how like Blossom doesn't really feel complete. It's mono grass type. It loses a type upon evolution, but it's literally a sunbathing hula dancer inspired like Pokemon. Give that the light type if it's sunlight, right?
right.
See, if
I
they're going to
agree.
give that a type, though, I'd say give it fighting for dance.
Sure, yeah, they could do that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really look like a fighter.
Oh yeah, no,
Pokemon,
definitely
but-
not. But I think,
Yeah.
but I do like when they diversify the
Yeah,
types
Yeah.
a little bit and like things
it is a dancer.
kind of look out of place. Like I like Lycanroc a lot because it's like a rock type Pokemon that like at first glance you may not would guess that's a rock type. You know.
That's a
Those
good
are-
point. And Lycanroc's even on this list.
I was gonna
Right.
say Lycanroc is actually a good example of like a more broad light type because it
Yeah.
changes its form. Let's say evolution or whatever. I guess it is a form.
Yeah, it evolves differently
yeah.
depending on the amount of light that is entering its
Exactly.
body. So
Which
that's kind of
that just
interesting.
lines up. Yeah.
Well, so does this actually? This is where I'm like, I don't see the same. I don't think light and cosmic are the same. Cosmic is like this mysterious. It's like almost like mystery
Cosmic
type.
is space.
They
Yeah,
would
it's-
have to.
me.
They would
It's
have
like
to like
foreign.
draw the line. Do you know what I mean? Like it would have to be like this is the line that cannot be crossed because yeah, I agree with you.
Sure,
that
but it's-
there could be a certain amount.
It's no thinner than the line between rock and ground.
True.
Well,
It's
then what
just-
is light then? Are you seeing it as sunlight? Because that's how this is depicted right here.
Well-
or is it just like is it like Gandalf entering as like Gandalf the White, just like a burst of energy and light?
I think it would be a lot of the same as a dark type, but the opposite
Okay.
of dark type.
Gandalf's
So, like-
a light type.
Well, then
Gandalf's the light type, the original.
Well, no.
Yeah.
So if you say it's the opposite of dark, that would mean it's like almost like goodness. The opposite of because if dark's actually evil or mischievous I think mischievous in like troubled is a little bit better than evil. I don't think dark type
Yeah, I
Pokemon
know,
are evil.
you're right.
The opposite of that to me has always been the fighting type because it's like the hero type.
Right, that's even why it's
Justice type.
super effective against dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just say like it's there's more than just pure light energy, let's say.
Yeah.
Like there's light energy and also like a light spirit, let's say, where they're like good
In your
in
heart.
spirit. Yeah. but that wouldn't have to be all of them. You know, like they do all kinds of different things when they make Pokemon.
Yeah. I think
these ones here are like mostly from light energy, like a light source. It doesn't have to be the sun, just like shining light. You know, light comes from.
It's maybe that is what they call it, like infinity type, because we have infinity energy, right?
Yeah, but then they catch in that lovely Disney lawsuit.
Yeah. Do you think Pokemon would buy Disney first, or Disney would buy Pokemon?
Oh, Disney would buy Pokemon first.
I don't know. Doesn't Pokemon make more money?
Rumors.
Please,
Pokemon does not make more money. Pokemon does not make more money,
bro.
No.
Disney. Disney, I'm pretty sure has tried to buy Pokemon in the past.
That's sick.
I think.
No, I'm gonna be never happen. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna be a Disney adult by the end of this.
You know, Disney helped make Disney adults are the best, man. I'm a Disney adult. I love Disney.
Well, I know I like Star Wars and Pokemon, and if Disney owns both of them, then I'm over. It's done.
Right. But they own everything. They own you, Dusty. They own all of us.
They own you.
Before we die, the mouse will rule the world. But I completely lost my train of thought. I do think that you know Disney worked on 4 of the Pokemon movies. They helped with 4 of the Pokemon.
Is that true?
Yeah, it was Forever, which is the Celebi movie.
Really?
Heroes, which is the Latios movie. Jirachi Wishmaker, and Destiny Deoxys.
I haven't seen any of those.
That has to probably do with that Disney were like the only ones. They were like the only animation.
Sure.
Like they were the top animation people. And so around that time, they were probably like, who do we look to help us make a good animated film? Like even I'm thinking about the Latios one, the Latios one, where it's just like the animation of them like flying through those areas. That's like, that was high quality animation back then. So, you know, it makes sense.
Interesting. So another thing I'm kind of noticing about like all of these Pokemon, all these light type Pokemon here, is that they're all kind of forgotten Pokemon. They're all like low tier, maybe not Cresselia, but I would say Cresselia is kind of a forgotten Pokemon or misunderstood Pokemon for even a legendary. I think another special thing about a new type is that you're able to almost give like new purpose to older Pokemon that may have been forgotten. And I think the light type makes sense with all of these right here.
I think Volbeat and Illumise, like, just imagine them getting a new type. That would make something more important about them.
Exactly.
It would definitely help them a lot, even though like their designs or whatever, you know, they become more with a new shiny type.
Lycanroc is not even that powerful. I know it's popular, but you know, like I don't know, like a lot of these Pokemon are just like, why doesn't it have more? Ampharos is maybe the only one that's like really popular, but I feel like Rapidash is just, it's like, okay, well why do I use Rapidash when Arcanine's there? Sunkern stinks. This one stinks. Patrat is useless.
See, with Volbeat and Illumise, what I'd say is you can give it the light typing, or we could erase them from the decks and just pretend they never existed.
We could do that. I would actually be in favor of that.
List of that. Like, if there was ever a racing Pokemon, we could do a video on it. We could do
that. That'd be fun.
We should do a video on
that. That would be fun to do. It's like a reverse tier list. It's like S tier means we have to delete it.
Yeah.
Well, we've said like we're gonna do like a tier list like of all our S tiers and all our F tiers.
Yeah. We might have to do that. All right. Well, let's go back to Cosmic type then, because I think there are. I don't know. I hear what you're saying, Sol. So I would say obviously the Necrozma, the Cosmogoline, those all really do make sense to be light type. I think that makes clear sense. But they could also be changed to Cosmic and light type. I don't really see the difference. I'm sorry, I don't see why they can't both exist.
It's just that they would have to keep something from their old type as well. So like Solgaleo,
sure.
What is it? Steel, Psychic?
So light Steel
the Psychic's
and
gotta
light
go.
Ghost.
The Psychic is just there for like literally legendary status.
Yeah.
You know? I would say it's because of their connection to space is why they have the Psychic typing.
But that's why they should have Cosmic type.
It's so dumb. Psychic type being like, what is the Psychic type? It's like literally mind reading, mind control.
Right.
Like powers with your mind. It has.
I think
almost zero to do with outer space.
Well,
Like, what in the
I think
world?
it's not that it has everything to do with outer space as much as it is like outer space has a lot to do with it in a way. Because like for one, it's like
Okay.
a connection to the universe kind of idea, but then
Okay.
Yeah,
also
I get it. I get
it's
it.
It's
it's
also
supposed to be like horoscopes and stuff. You know, where it's like
Hmm.
the constellations are able to predict things. You know, astronomy is really, you know, when you think about it, especially if you think about like before technology, it's always been a kind of, I don't know, like an otherworldly thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't
I
know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a
totally
spiritual.
get that there's definitely a reason why they made psychic type like our alien outer space type. Like that's a perfect connection, but it's like also a weak connection to me. Like the average person doesn't think about that and say, "Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's why this is a psychic type." We just look at it and be like, that's no psychic.
Yeah.
That's just
It
an alien."
in
You
Gen
know?
1, I mean, honestly for a long time Psychic was like kind of like an unmatched type. It was so powerful.
Right.
yeah.
And I think I always kind of understood. I've always been like, okay, if a Pokemon comes from outer space, right? Like even like what are these Lunatone and Solrock, right? They're kind of whatever Pokemon, but if they come from outer space, they're gonna have some sort of like psychic power because it's like a mystery power. It's like where do they have this? They're more powerful than the average Pidgey. Think of it like Superman, right? I don't
Yeah.
even know that much about Superman, but I know he's from another planet, and when he comes here, he's special because he's only in comparison. It's like he's powerful in comparison. So I
Right.
could see the psychic type kind of being related to that, but again, we got to split it up.
So
Yeah,
Solrock and Lunatone are psychic rock, right?
they are psychic rock. Yeah,
Yeah, see, they're a perfect example of like the
yeah,
psychic type doesn't need to be there. Like
yeah,
this would replace it perfectly, in my opinion.
yeah. I totally agree.
Well, Solrock and Lunatone don't need to be there. So
Yeah, Minior is actually kind of interesting as a flying type, but Cosmic could also make sense. You know, we got I don't even know what this thing's called. Sigilyph. The
yeah.
Clefairy line makes sense. LGMs. These are all like the alien Pokemon. This
Yeah,
all makes sense to me. Some of the Ultra Beasts. We got yeah, Dialga and Palkia.
Dialga and Palkia. I don't know about that here.
Palkia is referring to a different kind of space, and Dialga's not even referring to space.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
No,
Put
but
them
they're
in
from
Cosmic.
another dimension though, right? They're like
No, they're not. They're from our dimension. They just have their own dimension they can go to. And by that
yeah.
logic, Giratina should be on there too, and he's not.
It is, yeah. It is at the bottom, as well
Oh,
as
it is.
Darkrai, yeah.
Oh, I see it. My camera's blocking it.
Oh, sorry.
I
Yeah,
understand Palkia being here because water
they are
type for it-
aliens.
Yeah, but the water type. I'm thinking about their old types and what we can like replace, kind of.
I don't
thing.
think they should. Dragon never made sense for either of them. Just like you said,
They're
Psychic was
dragons,
legendary
especially
type.
Dialga.
They're not dragons, dude.
I
Dialga
was gonna
totally
say Dialga's
is.
like less of a dragon, actually.
Really?
Dialga's a
I think-
dinosaur.
Yeah,
I think
thank you.
Dialga looks like a dragon,
It looks like a Stegosaurus.
Yeah,
No,
or
no,
like
no.
a brontosaurus.
which looks like a dragon.
Yeah, this thing is definitely the ancestor of Meganium.
Yeah. In Pokemon, though, it's like you said earlier, Dusty, like dinosaurs are just dragon types, which
Sure.
is, it's not really that too accurate, but like, I don't think that Dialga looks too much like a dragon, but it fits fine. It's not, if I was to get rid of something on Dialga, it would definitely be steel, but for Palkia, it would be water. I understand why it's water because of space and it fills up space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Cosmic would fit, I guess.
Well, I've
for-
always seen it as like space can be changed. It's fluid, so
Yeah.
water, and then with Dialga, time is set, so it's
Yeah.
solid. It's steel. And then
Interesting.
also, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina are supposed to be the three states of matter. Dialga's steel, solid.
Okay.
Palkia's water, liquid. Giratina is ghost, gaseous.
Yeah.
That's cool. I
It's
like
just
that.
when changing like legendaries types, it's a lot harder because they're
Yeah.
more thought out, let's say, they're more important. Maybe not thought out, but more
Fact
important.
of the matter is, they're probably never going to change a legendary typing.
Have
should
they ever
change
done that
Lugias.
before? Yeah,
Nope,
I don't think so.
They didn't with Fairy.
They
No.
should change Lugias.
So okay, I think some of these, yeah, I don't think Illumise and Volbeat make sense on this list. I think Ladian and Ladybug, those should be light type. That kind of makes sense.
No, they should be fighting. Bug fighting.
Fighting. Yeah, fighting.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, they just shouldn't be on any of neither of them, those lines. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I'm
nothing
curious
against
about the
you,
reasoning
Sharon.
of why they're cosmic, why they have Ledion as cosmic.
So another some other Pokemon that could be possibly light type would be Lantern and what do you call it?
They should.
Chinchou.
I would definitely replace the electric for that.
I mean, the electric type is cool, but it's like what is it called? Bioluminescence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we're doing this or thinking about this,
Hypnotic could be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like what, not because we want to replace it, but what makes the most sense with their designs. Like not like, I mean, electric on them is awesome, but light would make so much more sense.
This is another type that Lumi said he doesn't like, but I think
I don't like it either. Bro.
I'm kind of indifferent.
Oh, rubber. Oh.
No, when you said it first, I was like, this one is the one that doesn't need to exist.
Yeah,
like,
so
it doesn't
rubber
need to exist.
Rubber is naturally occurring, and I think so. I think this is an example or a type concept that would be similar to grass type, where it's not really rubber. It's basically just like elasticity or the ability to stretch.
Right.
So it doesn't need to necessarily, you know what I'm saying? This is kind of one of those like physical typings.
Right. I'm looking at it and I'm just all the ones that they suggested here, and I'm just like, dude,
you don't like any of them.
3 of these
Yeah.
work with this if it was even a thing. Like
which 3?
Ditto probably, and then Swalot, is that it?
Yeah, Swalot and Gulpin.
Yeah, Gulpin. Those are the ones that stretch enough. Like, what other ones even stretch here?
Well, and even at that point,
Lickitung and
how are they
Licky,
rubber?
100%.
They're stretchy. They're not rubber.
No, but they're not rubber. But like,
It'd be like stretchy like rubber, you know?
Yeah, but like, you know, Venusaur or right here, Bellsprout isn't grass. It's a specific plant. You know?
Well, yeah, sure, but the grass type is all plants. But like,
how is a Alolan
rubber...
Executor a dragon?
Okay, I mean, come on. They always do weird things with the dragons. But I'm saying, like, making Ditto a rubber type because it is stretchy, is like making Inkay a water type because it's a squid. No, Dark Psychic works better for its personality. It's evil and it controls minds.
Yeah,
I guess Spoink would work too. But that's like literally those are the only ones in that whole thing.
See, then Grumpig couldn't work. So it's like...
It could though if the Grumpig
can make sense. It still has the bouncy tail. Grumpig, I've never liked Grumpig because I always felt like it was missing something. Like Grumpig it has the psychic type, but it's so weird.
Yeah. It's not weird. It's so bland. It's like not a Pokemon. I don't know.
I could see Shuckle as a rubber type.
Yeah,
Shuckle can be whatever it wants. They can. Dude, make
I could see Wobbuffet would be a perfect rubber type. It literally is a punching bag.
Yeah, I guess that one could work.
Yeah.
This type is just like, what is this type really? Like it, you talk about unnecessary or like not needed, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like a bird.
Yeah. Also, if they touch Gastrodon's type, the entire VGC community will be down their throats.
So before off camera, we talked to Lumi about how we're not talking about competitive kind of. So I think he's like not.
They tell me that every single episode.
he's not said as much, but you can. Feel free to say things about competitive stuff. It's just not how I'm judging it. Like, it doesn't matter that it would mess up with Gastrodon.
Yeah, and it's like your example earlier, Lumi. Like you said, they did change Metagross. Metagross was super powerful and a mainstay within the metagame. But they said, this is too powerful. We're going to change it up, right? Fairy type was literally introduced because the meta was off-balanced and everything had to run either a dragon type. I remember during that time, with my friends, I didn't run a lot of dragon types because most of them were pseudo legendaries or legendaries. But I remember running dark types and fighting types on every team. And funny enough, that's what Fairy is super effective against.
Honestly, Lumi's kind of right, the most like correct out of what we're talking about because Game Freak would only change types to like balance things, which is interesting. I'm judging this off of what these designs look like, but in reality they would change it because of like balancing issues with competitive.
Like if they change something, it's going to be something that it's not gonna beat grass. Like grass is not going to be disadvantaged against it, that's for sure. I imagine it would be something that ice has an edge on. Even if that's not, ice is super effective against it. Maybe ice resists it.
And bug.
Or is immune to it even. Bug as well.
Yeah, this could be the buff that you were talking about earlier, like to buff like rock and bug and ice, just like some type that is weak to them.
I mean, in a way, I guess I could kind of see sound being that, because like you could say rock and ice blocks out the sound. And then bug, I don't know. You could make the argument that bug beats it because they make a lot of sounds. I don't know. You know.
I keep thinking back, like there's like 4 generations. The first 4 generations, they were still trying to figure things out, and they were like purposefully limiting what they could possibly do for the sake of just like remaking Gen 1 every generation. Dude, the more and more we talk, the more I think it would be so dope if in Gen 10 they go, let's fix and let's retcon everything, bring back everything up to Generation 10 to the modern era, right, and give things typings that they need or they should have had.
When you say everything. When you say everything, it just seems so like insane to me. But you don't
not
mean
everything. No, I mean like if you look at the list of all Pokemon, right? Yeah. Like literally, the earliest Pokemon that could use a new type, I would think, is Blastoise with a Steel type, right?
First change.
That's the first change, right? Yeah. Second change. Give Butterfree like a Psychic type or something. It learns Confusion, right?
Dude, I was legit just thinking that, Dusty. Right? We're connected right
Dude, where it's like we have a psychic power.
We have the cosmic power. Ooh.
Yeah. Is Venomoth bug poison?
Exactly. That's awful.
Venomoth is bug poison, yeah.
Yeah, so like it could change too. But I don't know, it could stay poison, and if Butterfree got the Psychic type, then they would be like kind of counterparts a little bit.
I think
you could also
there's
Moonlight as a fairy type move now. Yeah. So if you connected one of them to like the moon and one of them to like the sun, you could make it psychic and fairy.
We literally
like one psychic, one fairy.
We haven't even looked at sound type, but like let's literally look at this list. Like, all right, that's gonna be steel type. We can make this psychic type. Pidgeotline's probably fine. That's basic.
It's perfect.
Rattata should have a dark type, although they give it.
They did the thing, yes.
They did the
same
with
the thing too.
So they could give it poison type, right? Spearow should be dark type. Ekans could be dark type.
Wait, hold on. For some of these, like, some of them could just
venomous,
stay the same. What?
I was joking. I said, rats aren't venomous, right?
Oh, no, but they have disease.
Right.
I get what you're saying with that, but some of them could stay the same. Like, I wouldn't, for your thing, Dusty, you have to be conservative. Like, yes. I think Game Freak would be super conservative on what they would change. Like, Blastoise makes sense because of the steel cannons. Like, that could definitely be a steel type.
I think it'd have to be
if
obvious.
You're scrolling, if you're scrolling through this, you would just be like I don't think they would change.
I thought for the longest time that Sandslash was ground poison as a kid.
Yeah, because
it's always using Poison Sting in the anime.
That's so random. I would never have thought that.
So only because of the anime.
Yeah, I didn't watch that, so that's probably why.
I can already see this being a selling point, right? Like, can't you see them being like the 10th generation of Pokemon? Because that's the thing.
Fairies,
that's the thing.
Cosmic type.
No, not even that. But to say like all your old favorite Pokemon have new typings, right?
Play with them differently.
Yeah. No, but like I feel like
and we're
also
not changing it back.
We have a current engine right now where. There are a current era right now where everything was like the first open world game. We got that back to back. And now it's like, what are you going to keep saying it's an open world game? There's got to be new things. Yeah. I feel like
they will keep until we're sick of hearing
They will keep saying that, yeah. But I don't know, Vulpix could have I feel like Vulpix could have a cosmic or psychic. Just give it psychic because that actually exists.
Ghost I could totally see with it.
With Will-O-Wisp.
Because of the anime, because there's like this whole episode with like a really spooky Ninetales and Brock.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole like its backstory basically, its origin.
Paris and Parasect could be Ghost.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I feel like you just go through this list. Golduck needs something, psychic. Right?
Yeah, psychic for sure.
Give me the psychic. I feel like Primeape and Mankey need to be dark type.
They got their evolution now, so there's no point now.
No, but it could be fighting. Yeah, it is fine, but it could be fighting dark to fighting ghost.
Yeah, I also would say that they don't need to change every monotype because I know you look at this list and we're they're monotypes, but they need to so for the Poliwag line, it's water fighting. Like
it's kind of wild that I got water fighting. That's kind of like a really unique type.
Well, in Politoed, it just stayed water, and I'd leave it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm just like letting my mind go. Right. Like, what are the possibilities?
Machamp and Alakazam, I'd leave pure.
I don't know.
There's no way we go through
Voltorb
every
should be
Pokemon.
steel. No. So, and then the fan favorite type is quite literally sound type. People have been talking about this for 15 years, it feels like.
This is the one I'd pick. This is the one I'd pick.
Yeah, this is the one we need.
Okay, so the sound type, you have to start off with some backstory, which is that it almost already exists. Like, there are so many normal types that have sound-based moves.
Well, not only that, but sound-based moves are a type of move. Like, they are classified as sound-based. They do different things in the game because they are sound-based.
Yeah.
Right. And
There's
they
abilities.
activate throat spray. They punk rock affects them. They go through subs.
I thought for sure, like, after Gen 8, there was so many sound things going on. I was like, man, the sound type's coming. It's going to happen. Because now we're just like, for me, light type, I want it to happen more. And there's tons of Pokemon that it makes sense for. But the sound type, there's even more. Like, just so much more that is like, okay, it's pushing that we need it almost. And a lot of
the Pokemon on this list, on this diagram right here, are from Gen 7, 8. No, I don't see anything from Gen 9, but I'm sure there are Pokemon from Gen 9.
I see a new Pokemon.
Which one?
A new fake evolution.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The first one, there's a sound evolution, which would be epic. That'd be
we didn't even talk about that. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that, but like all of the new evolutions that we have gotten since Generation 1, that's not true. Gen 4 doesn't count. Anyways, what I was going to say is 3 of the evolutions that we got since Gen 1 were tied to the reveal of a new type. Obviously not in Gen 4 with Leafeon and Glaceon. However, Leafeon was a beta Pokemon from Gen 2, or maybe Gen 1, so it should have existed.
This could have been a good way to wrap it up, but actually, like, you're totally right that it could coincide with a new evolution because we haven't had one in so long now.
Yeah.
That for Gen 10, they'd be like a new evolution and a new type, just like in Gen 6, like freaking 10, 11, however many years ago.
Dude, I could hear my high school buddies calling me, be like, yo, did you see the new evolution? Is that game good?
Yeah. Is there a new type? How many
I get that call every 2 years. They're like, did you see the new Legends game? What is that? Is it different?
I like how they ask you, did you see? Like,
did you see? I know.
Man,
I'm like,
yes,
dude,
I saw.
Yes, I saw it.
Dude, that is so real, though. I have another like childhood friend that's just like, hey, did you see this news today about Pokemon? I'm like, dude, it's my job to like literally know the news before like people even know the news. I'm like, dude, I know. You know?
I have a childhood friend that I don't speak to.
Wait, what?
That's a joke, guys. That's a joke.
Yeah, no, it's a joke. It's a joke.
I thought he was
everybody's like, my childhood friend calls me up all the time. I'm like, my childhood friends are back in my childhood. I don't speak to them anymore.
I don't
because I said, well, I didn't grow up and they did. I'm still talking about Pokemon.
I'm still talking about Pokemon. They're doing their taxes. I didn't do my taxes. I did my taxes.
Dude, you have to do your taxes.
I did my taxes.
What's dope is like, talking about Pokemon is something that I can claim on my taxes. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so this list is pretty cool. This list actually gets me the most excited because they're not all like edgy space types. These are Pokemon from all over the place. Right? So they're all sound. I guess they're not sound for different reasons. They all just make noise. Like I don't know how else to say it.
I'd say it's a little bit better than that. Like
there's vibrations,
a lot of these
right?
Are actually based around sounds. Now, I would say they've got Meloette on here, and I think the whole thing is one's a singer, one's a dancer. So instead of making it sound psychic, sound fighting, it should actually be normal sound, normal fighting. Like, again, if we're talking about what makes the most sense.
I agree.
Or maybe just sound and then sound and fighting. Because it's like, what I feel like this is a scenario where like actually a lot of these Pokemon are normal type just for the sake of it. Like why is Exploud
they're normal type because
type?
they were supposed to be sound type basically. Like they should be sound type, not that they were supposed to be, but they should be. But they don't have a sound type, so they're like, what do? Well, we just give them the regular normal type, and then we give them these normal moves that are all sound-based moves. Mm-hmm. That's basically how the sound type already exists in Pokemon. Like, it's crazy.
Even like Rillaboom, like it's literally a drummer and it's mono grass type. Grass sound, it would be so cool. Like all of these Pokemon are like monotype.
Primarina, Skeledirge.
Why is Primarina fairy type? I never understood that.
Toxicity, though, I would recommend keeping it electric poison and
it's
just
good.
its ability boosts the power of sound-based moves. So just make it like Delmize's ability, where it gets stabbed from steel moves. Give it an ability that gives it stab from sound moves.
That's like having 3 types, which is kind of cool. Like like if it had that, then it would be epic.
Well, and it was the Lucario of Sword and Shield, I would say. So it deserves it too, I think.
Even though poison is like, why? But yes.
Because it's a fairy killer.
We have Bronzor, Bronzong. That's it's literally a bell. Lapras sings. That makes sense. The vibrations of Seismitoad. I know Lumi doesn't want to change that because it's a good competitive typing. But
it's not just that. Their whole thing is that they represent toads. They're aquatic and then they're ground, so they're both water.
No. Their thing is that they make vibrations with the little
they have
bumps all over
by causing earthquakes works so well with that.
That is true, honestly, because Earth. That's actually really true.
It should be ground sound, not water sound.
Well, I think sound type is actually vibration, right? Because sound is literally vibration. But at a larger scale, or maybe just vibrations make sound. I don't actually know what the difference is.
Sound is made up of vibrations, I believe.
Yeah. So
but they,
you're right.
for many reasons, cannot make a vibration type.
Yeah, but they could also make this ground sound type, and then it has access to water type moves. Anyways, this whole list gets me excited because there's a lot of forgettable Pokemon on here, or things that just are for no reason monotype.
I don't know why Litleo in that line is here at all, but
I think because they roar was debuted with them.
Yeah,
right, and it's normal type. It's like why?
Yeah, I'm with you though. I don't give it to them.
I mean, light or fire.
Because you still need some things that are just normal fire, normal electric. Dude, you still need those.
Boltund is a little silly here because any dog Pokemon could bark.
Yeah.
But I do like that because it makes it more interesting.
He could be running as fast as the speed of sound or something like that.
That's
you know
true,
what I mean?
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. But I wouldn't put it here either, to be honest. I like the idea of like Primarina or like Skeledirge or Rillaboom. Like imagine they
what about
would
Ludicolo?
Yeah, Ludicolo would fit.
Oh, it is on here.
Yeah. Anything music related for sure.
Don't touch Ludicolo's water grass type.
I know
the only water grass type in the game.
I would literally just take Ludicolo and just drop it in a trash can. Forever.
I feel like what would you make Hypno and Drowsy? Because
Hypno and Drowsy, I would make them not exist because I'd get rid of them.
I probably would too. But no, I agree. Sound would work perfectly because they're like doing the thing. You know, it's like when you get hypnotized.
Yeah, but they don't make noise. They just wave a pendulum.
It's true.
I would say pure
watch
psychic
anime
works.
again. Watch the anime again.
I watched that episode like a few weeks ago, and they talk, but all Pokemon talk.
No, he says it over and over until you are hypnotized.
Yeah, I still say we just burn them.
They're Hypno, yes. Drowsy's all right.
Really? I'd much prefer Hypno to Drowsy.
Dude, it's a man.
I feel like
it's a man.
Yeah, I feel like Porygon should be a different type. Porygon never really made sense as a normal type.
That would be something that's
type. Typeless. Yeah, that's we didn't even talk about that.
Digital was one of them.
Digital's a really cool type. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we're Digimon now.
No.
Like, what else is that? Like, what is a digital monster? Think about it. If you're talking about digital type.
Digital is like... If
you're thinking about a digital type, though.
No, digital is... I think
to electric, probably.
I think of also artificial, right? I think that makes a lot of sense. Because there are a lot of like man-made Pokemon that could fall under that category.
Well, then they have to take all the Violet Paradoxes and change them to be an artificial type.
Like Magnezone... No, I guess... I was gonna say that could be digital type.
I think that's where the rubber type even comes in, like the artificialness of it. Like people want an artificial like type.
But we have those. Like Steel is often that, and then they often
Steel is naturally occurring, isn't it?
It is, but they often use it in Pokemon as like the kind of man-made things. You know, the Magnemites, the Klinklangs. You know,
with that logic, then it doesn't even matter with paradoxes because like. None of them are basically steel type.
Yeah,
they don't care. Yeah, I don't think that digital is a practical type in general. It's
Yeah,
like
I
it's the
mean-
same thing as silver for me. It's just like, okay, Porygon is like the only one. Like what
People
else?
want them to make Rotom could be just because it,
Yeah.
goes into
Ghost
machines
works
and stuff.
perfect with it
I
already.
guess that's the point
Yes.
where
I
it
imagined it would
almost.
get rid of the electric.
I guess you could get to a point where it's like you're over explaining things where it's no longer fantastical
Right.
and fun. You have to think of a subcategory, a subtype for every little tiny difference between the different Pokemon, right? Here's some more Pokemon. I could see Meganium as Grass Fairy very clearly, very obviously.
Grass light.
Yeah,
I feel like
maybe-
it's
yeah,
something
Grass
that
Light
we
could
would
make
not-
sense.
Grass Dragon. It's a dinosaur.
Dude, yeah, like
See?
Dialga.
You have the same like logic there, but it's not true.
Feraligatr should be water fighting type.
Water Dragon,
Typhlosion,
it's a reptile.
Typhlosion because it's
Yeah.
a that's true.
Reptile.
It should
reptile
be,
type?
but they would just never give
Reptile
dragon to
type.
a starter. Sadly.
Like I don't know, like a furret is so boring now. That's another thing. It's like a lot of
Make
these
it
Pokemon
dragon.
made sense back in the day, but it's like if we look at them with a current lens, there's all these. You don't need to make a mega form for every Pokemon. You don't need to make a new type or a regional. They're gonna run themselves dry. What they should do is just like retype a lot of this stuff. That would, dude,
I could see
Change
fairy.
everything to pure dragon.
no.
Everything.
No,
I want to
no.
send out a pure dragon for it.
It'd be epic, but
But that doesn't make sense.
It'd have to be a past paradox for it.
Or just
But-
a terrestrialized for it.
Yeah, I think fairy type would work for Furret the best.
Would you give Dunsparce a different type?
Yes.
It should evolve into a dragon type, to be honest. But
Yeah.
It should be dragon, I agree.
I feel like
or fairy because it's like based off a mystical animal.
yeah, it could be. But the whole point is that it's based off of a snake, so it's just like the reptile type is the dragon type. Let's say so.
Yeah. Onyx
It's funny. It's based off a
learns-
snake, but it's so bug to me.
It never
It does, yeah.
When I was a kid, I never thought that thing was a snake. I learned later on
No.
in life.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I'm
based
like,
on
oh.
like a fake snake, like a
Yeah, the fat
mythological
snake. The little fat
Yeah.
snake. He's
So
cute.
people,
I
like
him.
people have seen them. Like people have seen them. So
No.
like it probably was like
Bigfoot.
just a big snake. It probably was like a snake, and they were like, "Whoa, that's a weird."
It was a
looking
snake that had ate something.
I was gonna say that. Yeah,
and
it's
it
literally
Exactly.
it's an anaconda with like something in its mouth, and it's like, whoa, that's crazy.
Well, if it's an anaconda in Japan, they've got other issues.
sure, like, yeah, not it could be
Well,
whatever
you never
snake it
know
needs to
though.
be.
Like somehow, some way, it could have ended.
No,
up
you
there.
can. Ice Cube's whole basis is there was actually just a penguin that washed ashore in the UK at some point.
Yeah,
Yep.
And they were like, "What are you doing here, penguin? Antarctica is literally on the other side of the world."
And who knows? Back in the day in Japan, some big snake could have ended up there and ate something and looked really flat, and they were like, "Whoa, it's a whatever you call it."
But the question is, what did he eat?
an egg.
Let us know in the comments below what you
Right?
thought that snake ate.
I think Steelix should be steel dragon type because it learns dragon tail. I think Ursaring could be a light
Okay,
type.
then Superior should be dragon type.
Oh,
It
and-
should be. It should be.
Ursaring
Oh.
and that whole
Why
line
not?
should be light type for sure.
Yeah, they should be light type
No,
with their
Ursaring
association
should be
with.
dragon.
I've always liked the idea that like Teddy Ursa, because it eats all the honey, could be like it could evolve into like a bug type. I
would actually make them, if I was to change their type, I'd make them fairy, just because again they Moonlight is a fairy.
No, that's a
move,
good
so like
point.
they seem to tie the moon to fairy. Clefable.
See, I literally I hate that about Pokemon. That's why I think that I really do. I hate it. Like I think that we should have more types because of that. Like you just basically have to explain a way to attach it to a type that isn't really connected to it. You know, like that them being fairy is dumb because they have a Moonlight move that's a fairy move, I guess now.
They
And it's
actually
just-
don't even learn Moonlight. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, since they seem to connect the moon to fairy, because not just with Moonlight, but also because like Clefairy is very much tied to the moon, so they made that a fairy type.
Right.
Jigglypuff evolves from the Moonstone, so that's fairy type. But yeah, I
No,
gotta say, Soul, I love that. Like you're so mellow, you always like have a really calm voice, and so it's funny because most of the time I just think you're like talking, but instead you're like, yeah, well the thing is, I actually hate that, and like
Yeah, you
he
get you're
delivers
actually
it.
heated.
Yeah, like he's his,
I felt like just a
maybe
little
next
anger,
we can
just
talk about this is the same as his. I think that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
I think there's also some
true.
Pokemon we didn't even talk about this, but there's some Pokemon that could even lose a type. We take a look at like Delibird. Why is it flying type? Because it's a bird.
Because it flies.
Just because it's a bird.
Yeah,
no,
but
it
like,
flies too, though.
It
yeah,
does,
but penguins don't fly. It shouldn't fly. I could see Delibird
It's a
as ice
Pokemon,
psychic.
not a
It's
penguin.
Santa, though. It's Santa. He has to fly
Santa
around the whole
does
world.
fly.
That's true. That is a fair point. That's a
You
fair point.
trying to take these
No,
toys
you
from
got it,
these
you got
boys and girls across the land?
You got it. No, you're right. I was wrong. I admit I take responsibility. I was wrong. I'm sorry.
You know, wouldn't Donphan be a rubber typing because it's a tire?
Yeah, it should be.
Honestly,
that makes more sense.
I like
actually
that,
makes
yeah.
a lot of sense compared
like
to
that.
some of the other ones.
Stantler should be ghost, psychic, or
Porygon 2 rubber because it's a rubber ducky.
The way that they did Stantler and Weirdeer is perfect, actually.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
Stantler's
it makes
fine
sense
as
now.
normal, and now that it's Weirdeer has psychic, it's just perfect.
And it also oh man, I've done a whole freaking video on my channel on this because I love this so much.
Let it rip.
The thing that's
What's
so
the theory?
cool about Stantler, it's not a theory really, it's just like a really neat thing that I appreciate that they did.
Wait,
but like
pause.
Stantler
Miltank should be rubber type because of the udders.
No.
Okay. All right, I want to hear your story.
Oh my
I want to hear your story.
Canceled. But so Stantler has always had like psychic powers in the anime and the games and everything. And then they gave it a psychic type evolution with Weirdeer. And in Scarlet and Violet, it even points out that like they believe that Stantler's psychic powers are left over from when it used to have such strong psychic powers that it evolved into a psychic type.
That's cool.
I think that's so cool. I love
That is
that.
Cool, but it's
Like
just
it
so lame.
recontextualizes the Pokemon.
That is really cool. I mean, it really is easy to do, but it does have a mega Sceptile does have a mega form that is dragon type. You could just give it a dragon type. I think that would be really fitting.
Yeah,
No
Will
response?
we ever have a dragon
No,
type
well, for
starter?
some of them with like that have megas already. Like I was thinking about Ampharos with the dragon type. Like Ampharos would have made sense to have its own just dragon type on its own, but since it has a mega now, it's like forget it.
No, but that's not because some megas.
I mean, if they're not going to
retain the
bring
type.
megas back, then don't forget it.
Yeah, exactly. Some megas retain the type when it evolves, like Blaziken or Swampert. So I think that's totally fine.
True. I didn't think about that.
Can we just make Wurmple Bug Dragon, but then when it evolves, it stays pure bug? Like
it's like
it's just Wurmple.
It's like a randomizer Nuzlocke. Wurmple. Wurmple. The anime made Wurmple honestly so cute to me. I love Wurmple.
I love Dustox. I love Beautifly too, but I love Dustox.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. Like it's so cool. The fact that they retcon Gardevoir is so cool
because it's just a Kilowattrel that's normal flying.
True. But it's like, why is it normal type? Just get rid of that. They could do that. They could retcon some stuff.
I always took that as like because it's just this. You know what I mean? Like all the time we'll complain about Pokemon that are like, oh, I don't like Toucaning because it's just a toucan.
Yeah, but they stopped doing that after Generation 6. So it's like if we were to get an overhaul,
they went back to it this gen. Squawkabilly was normal flying.
Makes sense though, and so does Swellow. Like I think normal flying fits. Like I don't know what else.
Oh yeah, I'm not hating on Swellow. Swellow is possibly the greatest thing that the Pokemon company has ever given us.
It's kind of exactly what you said though. Swellow is like exactly like the bird real life counterpart of it. Like so, it's just a normal flying bird.
For the record,
true. That's fair.
For the record, if they are going to do a sound type, then they need to make Swellow sound flying because I want to keep running Boomburst on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Being stabbed.
That's another thing. Boomburst was when that came out. I was like, I'm running anything that can learn it, and I did. It was so powerful.
You get Boomburst, and you get Boomburst.
Dude, Exploud was my favorite. One of my favorite Pokemon to like run. I think it gave it like a.
I love Noivern.
Scarf.
I run now. I often run like, especially on ranked and stuff. I'll run Terra Normal Noivern with Boomburst.
That's cool. That's
really
cool.
Spray. This whole discussion actually just made me depressed a little bit because I just thought about how we're definitely not getting a sound type. Like,
no, we're not.
No,
Why?
because of this.
They've never given us.
Because we know that it's coming.
In the Gen 9 meta, like the whole normal type, like Terra type Boomburst stab is like huge. Like people do it all the time.
No, that doesn't mean anything, man. Because they had Dragon type, and everything used Draco Meteor. and they just got rid of it. They changed it.
It's just like what Lumi said. It buffs the normal type.
It's not just Boomburst too. Terranormal Dragonite with extreme speed has literally put Dragonite. Dragonite is usually one of the top 5 Pokemon used in both VGC and in singles.
You know, the reality, maybe you guys are right, and the reality is that normal type is the sound type. That's actually the reality.
I mean, now, definitely.
That's the red pill.
Yeah, before Gen 9, I would have said, man, they're about to make a sound type. But now I'm like, this Terra type thing, I don't know. I mean, but Terra types probably will not continue to Gen 10.
It'll be, if they, I think, okay, so the Pokemon Company is going to keep going around until it can't anymore. Like, the fact of the matter is that if the Pokemon Company is still as strong as it is today, when we are all in our 90s, it's going to go past us. You know, it's going to keep going, just like Disney, just like any other company that makes money. Back then? Well, you'll be 90, so you tell me. Well, are you plan on stopping at 60? You know, but
I'm going to 105.
Yeah, me too.
There you go. Unfortunately, life expectancy in my family is like freaking 40. So
make sure you subscribe to Lumi.
Subscribe while you can.
He's running out of time.
It's not really 40 for the record, so no one freak out in case anybody took that seriously. But
Spinda could be sound type. Sorry.
I would say that they will eventually, if they go on that long, they're totally going to do a new type at some point. Even if it's not till another 50 years, whatever. They're going to do it at some point because it will make them trend. But it won't be something we'll call. No one called fairy typing.
No, yeah. Well, that's the thing. No one called fairy type. Actually, that's not even true. There were people who did. There was a small group of people who thought fairy made sense because there's like literally fairy type Pokemon, right? Not fairy type.
Okay, I didn't know that. I had not seen anybody call it.
It was
I remember
it was a small percentage.
Sylveon was flying, and then when they said it was a new type, they said, okay, then it's light.
They saw Nympheon. They said, oh, it's gonna be a bug type.
Because the eyes.
Yeah, no, yeah. So fairy type people did think, but it was mostly light type. And what I was gonna say is, even though we got fairy, which was unexpected, fairy type. And the attributes of a fairy type, whether it's like up, the moon, it's a little bit of magic, it's a little bit of this. A lot of that does cross over cosmic and light type. So we did get some of the same attributes. They just kind of like
it beats dark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they just kind of
and that's kind of the reason it beats dragons is because it's the light type. It's the good type.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of. It's not really good. They're like super mischievous as well. They're not.
They're
meant to be like fairy,
Right, but like a lot of the times that there is a mischievous one, they give them another typing along with the fairy. Like with Impidem, its mischievousness comes from its dark type.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But like most of them are actually really good and loving, like Florges and Rabombi.
This is a tangent, but I was watching a Candy Eevee, I think is her name, video, and
I'm familiar.
Yeah, she's huge. But I was talking about, or she was talking about, just like the fairy type being, like, the God's gift to Earth and like the best type, and thank God that it happened or whatever. And I was just like, actually, no, like. I never needed the fairy type. I do not like the fairy type. I don't want the fairy type. It needs to just. I wish
I like the fairy type.
That. Like I don't like fairy type Pokemon, barely any. Like I've said it a million times. I can count probably on both hands how many fairy type Pokemon I enjoy.
I think that's true for me.
But I think it's also
on
subjective,
those hands, the ones I can count, the ones I do like. I adore. Rabombi is incredible. Alolan Ninetales is incredible.
But Alolan Ninetales...
Mimikyu.
Let's say
Mimikyu, Grimmsnarl.
Mega Absol. Oh, dude, Grimmsnarl is awesome.
Mega Absol is not a fairy type.
Mega Absol's not
fairy.
It
is. Isn't it?
No, it's not.
No.
Get out of here.
Dark.
Hold on.
Is it just dark?
First dark fairy was Grimmsnarl.
No. Hold on.
Yeah.
But there's one that you can change, Dusty.
Is it? Is it not?
No.
It's just dark.
That's just the picture. You can do
it.
It.
We know it's just dark.
I know.
Yeah, you guys are lying to me.
Check for himself. We're gaslighting Dusty right now.
I don't know where you're gonna find it. Here you go. No, you're not gonna
go
find,
to Cerebi.
If anything, you should have typed in
what type is Mega
Absol.
Okay, I gotta get off.
He's gonna do it off screen just in case. But
why? What
yeah,
will come up?
I don't
Dude,
know.
you never know.
You never know.
You don't. You don't.
I just had to get that
it's
out
dark
there.
type.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, we know.
I know.
Yeah, interesting. They should change that. I also think Tropius should be a dragon type. Tell me Tropius shouldn't be a dragon type.
It shouldn't be a dragon type.
It should be a dragon type. It
It could not be though as well. It could be something else. I don't know.
It should have like levitate or why is it flying type?
It flies.
That's silly.
It flies.
Yeah, but that is the stupidest thing. It should be dragon type.
I mean,
I agree that
is
flying
it though?
fun,
It's a flying type, so it makes sense to me that they'd give the flying type to
Yes.
the flying thing.
But it's also a giant dinosaur, and it's got paper thin wings.
okay,
no.
but
It should be a dragon
Barney's a giant dinosaur, you know?
Yeah, but this is Pokemon. It's serious. Pokemon is serious.
Barney's serious, man.
I don't
I'm still
know.
thinking about the fairy type over here.
I think Clamperl never really made sense to me because I think its evolutions are absolutely useless, right? Great opportunity to
Huntail's
change
cool
the type.
though. Huntail's cool though.
Why is Love Disc? No, I guess it's just a simple water. fish.
Why is Love Disc here? Is the
No,
question.
I mean what he asked was the perfect question. Why is Love Disc? That's
Why
it.
is Love Disc?
Why is Love
Exactly.
Disc? Yep.
Why is Love Disc?
I don't know. We literally could go like this should not be psychic type. These Deoxys, like we could go throughout this list, and there's
but
always
they are
a
highly
new type.
intelligent.
You can keep going a little. I agree though with Deoxys.
Cricketune should be whatever you call it, sound
Sound.
type. Light type for Luxray because it's supposed to be X-rays, right? So the
Yeah.
electric type is good. I
Luxray
never
should be dark type. Get out of here with your light type.
Dude, that's such a Zoomer idea. I hate
kind
that.
of
Okay,
is,
well
'cause
then
it's
I'm
just
a
like-
Zoomer. I think I
it's
am
like-
a Zoomer.
You are.
might be.
I don't know. Just
What's
People
a
say
Zoomer?
dark for no reason. Like it's
just because it has a dark
colored.
mane. Yeah,
It's just because it's colored dark. It is not like an evil Pokemon or anything.
Okay.
it's
I
based
hear
on
what-
X-rays.
I hear what you're saying. I really do. My counterpoint would be it would be cool. So shut up.
It would be cool. Yeah, it would be cool. No, that is super valid. I think. I don't know. I actually do like the rock type on all the fossils, but part of me is always like, yeah, maybe it's just wishful thinking to think that they're ever going to like reveal what they could look like if they weren't just revived fossils.
Yeah.
But then I'm also like, what if there was a new type that maybe I could see cosmic? Maybe there was, I don't know, what if there was a different type other than rock that they could all share instead of the rock dual type?
Give the Cranidos psychic because you're dealing with the
It's
head.
got a big head. Yeah. I can see that, yeah. I don't know.
I mean, that's our logic on Monkey Dory, right? It's psychic because
Yeah.
it has a big head.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. These could
Can't wait
definitely
to
be
find
light
out what
type.
those are.
Ambipom, I guess it is a normal monkey, but I feel like that could be
Ambipom
something
Into
else.
It could
the
be
trash
fighting.
can.
It
Into
could
the
be.
trash can.
Get
Into
out
the
of here.
forever trash can.
Get out of
Veneri-
my office.
It gets a fighting type mega evolution, but they should just give it a fighting type. I feel like it or at least Lopunny.
Yeah,
I mean,
Lopunny
I think
Miss
should
Magus
get
could be
the
fairy
fighting
type.
and get a move that boosts kicking moves.
Yeah.
Get an ability that boosts kicking moves.
Glameow and Purugly it's like the cat version of Snubble.
Except worse.
I hate those Pokemon.
Yeah, I don't like them either. That's what I'm
But
saying. There's
they
so
are
many filler
cats.
Pokemon.
And remember, cats are only good for two things: dog food and target practice.
This is a lie. I like cats a lot.
I'm allergic
I like
to cats.
I like cats a lot too. I
am
just like that joke.
biased. Chatot should be sound type. What
Yes,
are
it
other
should.
types that we're forgetting about? Oh, light
But
type.
do you see how many sound types there could be, like that weren't on that list as well? Like,
Yeah.
Cricketune and Chatot were both not on there, and they were perfect for that.
Yeah.
I think.
Spiritomb could be
there's a-
bug type
What?
Spiritomb?
because it's an infestation.
Yeah, I could.
Right.
I think its
Spiritomb's
type
perfect.
its type does make sense. I could
I
also
know.
see it.
Catholic joke there.
You
We
can't
don't
be
do
messing
those.
with us. We're serious about this right now.
Yeah, we're trying to solve problems.
Hippowdon should be dark because
Hippos are evil. Yeah, I
it's
do
like
like the
mean.
ground
Wait,
type. one.
wait, where'd this come from? Why are hippos evil?
They're just
You didn't know?
aggressive.
If you ever come into contact with a hippo, just like run.
Oh
or
no,
something.
I know that. I know that.
Yeah.
But like, I mean,
They'll
that
just chase
I
you
just
down.
was really curious why you all you saw that hippo and you just went, it's evil, and kept
Because-
going like
because
it's
Hippos
nothing.
are apparently like super evil. That's what I've heard.
I've heard they're territorial, but not evil.
They're super aggressive.
You ever seen the video of them chasing the boat?
No, but
Yes.
yes,
Man,
I have
that's
seen that.
scary. That
Yeah.
boat has a wake, and that hippo's
Yeah,
catching
yeah.
up to it.
That's horrifying. Lumineon again, a waste
Light
of a dex
type.
entry just to. Oh man, that's the thing I think bothers me so much about Generation 5 and before. Everything Gen 1 to Gen 5, there's so many filler Pokemon that they basically make the same Pokemon just to have that version of that archetype
it's like
in a new
Basculin.
game.
You know, Basculin, they were like, we need another fish Pokemon. And that was it. Like
In fairness, Basculin was a little bit more than that. Basculin was actually one of the last Pokemon to be added to Unova, and it was because they said, we don't have enough water types in this game, so make a water type. And so they made Basculin and went and presented it, and they were like, yes, this is good, but we need more water types, so maybe give it a color difference. And so they did.
Yeah, that's so silly.
I love Basculin, actually.
Basiligian is objectively one of the greatest Pokemon
Basiligian is awesome.
100%. We can agree. I can't wait till we get to like Hisui tier list.
Oh yeah,
those are
honestly So there's a lot of Pokemon here. I don't know. I feel like Gen 5 also has a lot of Pokemon that are just like desperately in need of like a dual type.
Samurott could be fighting. Superior could be poison. Dragon.
Give a dragon. Come on. No one wants a grass.
The problem with
type.
Dragon and starters is like, will they ever do it? You know, like I want.
Yeah, but we're past it. Like these aren't starter. I mean, they are starter Pokemon, and in the games that they exist, right? For 9 generations of Pokemon, these will always just be the types they are. But if we start a new generation, Generation 10, and then they retype these Pokemon, it doesn't matter if they're Dragon type, right?
I don't know if y'all are familiar with Mr. Buddy. He is a YouTuber. He does like a bunch of fake mon stuff, and he used to do actual like because I don't know if Buddymon he even includes Pokemon or not, but I know like he used to do like what if Egypt had a Pokemon region, what if this had and he did for Norway. He or maybe it was Scandinavia, not just Norway. But he said, because, dragons are a really big part of the lore there, he did the starters were water dragon, grass dragon, fire dragon. And I would love that.
Dude, that'd be
so much. If they did it like that, I think it'd be fine.
Yeah.
I just don't think they make one dragon. And then all the rest of them
I agree.
Unless they're like fairy and...
but see, they may as well, because like if you look at Oris... You're going to get the Mega Stones in your playthrough, so you essentially are going to have either a firefighting Pokemon, a water ground Pokemon, or a grass dragon Pokemon. So in a way, they did it then.
Yeah. Any other ones you're looking at, Dusty, right now?
There are a lot. I mean, some are like, Girder. I could see these being Steel type, because they're like, but, I don't know. It's kind of flimsy. I just... Gen 5 obviously was created, and the dex was filled out to make a bunch of replicas of things that have existed before. And so because of that, I'm always like, well, you could make these a little bit more interesting. Lilligant could easily be a fire type. Here's Basculin. I don't know. I feel like Basculin should be water dark type for how like vicious it is. It's literally
just moving
supposed to be
past
vicious.
that. Why is Lilligant fire?
Because it's the sun. It's like a sun dancer.
I guess
it could be. So I guess its Hisuian form is literally.
We all thought it was going to be fire grass. Everyone was like, "It's going to be fire grass," and nope.
Yeah, I don't know. Darmanitan could be fighting type, firefighting. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of little ones here. The biggest offenders, I think, are the first two generations. Gen 3 and Gen 4.
That makes sense. They're the most outdated.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just because that's what they were always, and they haven't been updated.
And
people hate on like Gen 1 getting a lot of love, and recently Gen 2 getting a lot of love, but like they're doing it because they need it the most. Sorry, but Primate needed an evolution more than any Gen 5 Pokemon.
Absolutely.
They're kind of going through the generations, to be honest. Like
they are.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean they gave B-Sharp something this time around.
Dude, that's honestly sick. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised in Gen 10 if we get like a whole bunch of stuff for Hoenn Pokemon.
I mean, shoot, we've gotten an Alolan form or an Alolan Pokemon get a regional variant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Really appreciate everyone. I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate everyone listening. If you want to support the channel, subscribe, become a channel member. We started a Patreon, so if you want to support us on Patreon, you can do that. All the links are in the description. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, leave us a review. It helps out way more than you know. We'll see you guys next time. Hope you like the layout. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Peace.